whenever you're out there running this winter?
You know, and I driver, new drivers, seasoned veterans, is when you go through your planning process to operate in this winter weather season. You know, we've said that in years past. The first thing we want you to consider is not driving. Okay, we want you to get in tandem with your fleet manager, evaluate using the technology that you have available to you, what the road conditions are going to be like, what the traffic conditions are going to be like, where the biggest part, the belly of storm, is going to be, and evaluate your best course of action. You know, there's no trophy, there's no additional pay, there's really no reward by trying to operate in the worst part of the storm. There's only risk. You know, and of course, you know, us as safety professionals, we're risk adverse. We don't want you to take any unnecessary risk to make sure that, you know, and I know we got customers that are watching, and whether it's ice cream or frozen pizza or fresh meat, we don't want you to take the risk of, you know, getting that product delivered on time. It's, you know, it's not hearts, it's not lungs, it's not, you know, ammunition going to the front line of a battle. These are things that are typically going to go into a warehouse that can be refrigerated and frozen if it shows up just a few hours later. So typically, if you just take a few hours during the worst part of a storm, even a full 10-hour break, you know, additional than what you've already set, the road conditions, the traffic conditions, the weather conditions are typically completely different and much safer to operate just a few hours later. You know, where we find ourselves sliding into someone, as John talked about, where we find ourselves in that situation after a winter weather accident, we hear all the time, I was just about to pull over. Man, I was looking for some place to stop right then. Well, have we, you know, planned a little bit further ahead? Have we communicated with our fleet manager a little bit ahead? Maybe we wouldn't have put ourselves in that peril. You know, you are the captain of your ship, not a fleet manager, not a night fleet manager, not a sales coordinator, not a appointment setter at a customer is going to force you to operate in situations that you're not comfortable in. You know, Steve Lucky always talks about, don't be a victim. This is one of those situations where we don't want you to be a victim, and we don't want us to be a victim of this winter weather. So, all right,
Dennis, let me throw a couple more things out there if you don't mind. You know, I said speed was our number one. You know, but let's do some follow up on that with following distance. You know, you want to increase your following distance, and you know, don't drive above your ability. Which is a big one. When you start driving above your ability, you get blinders on, and you're not looking in your mirrors like you're supposed to. So yeah, slow down, increase your following distance, and don't drive above your ability. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna throw one more in there. My favorite one is, don't be distracted behind the wheel. Put your phone away. Don't be jibber jabbering. Don't be waiting for the ding, the buzz. You know, I know it's perfectly legal in all 48 continuous states to operate hands free. Just because it's hands-free, that doesn't mean it's risk-free. You know, I can't watch Monday Night Football and listen to my wife talk at the same time, so I definitely can't drive an 80,000-pound vehicle and listen to her talk at the same time either. So, you know, limit those conversations, get your focus on the road on where it should be. You know, we teach in PSC class, keep that head on the swivel. And again, I want to say it one more time, at any point that you don't feel comfortable behind the wheel, and this is just not winter, it's fog, it's heavy rain, it's fatigue, whatever it is, shut down. Just communicate with us and we'll take it from there. As you can probably tell, kind of the theme for today's meeting is going to be, what can we do to take care of you? So today's theme, we're going to have folks from our claims department. We're going to talk about what we can do when you hit somebody, what we can do when somebody hits you, and then, of course, what we want to do to protect our cargo while it's on the trailer. So we're going to have folks from each one of our claims department come up today. That'll be kind of the theme, what we can do to protect you. These folks will be here the whole time. So if you have questions that you don't want to ask publicly, or if we have questions from online, we'll field those too. So I think we got a comment back here in the back.
Also, let everybody know too that be careful when you get off the road to shut it down during the winter months, that the parking lots of truck stops could be worse than the road.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So who we have first, John?
All right. It looks like we're going to get everything kicked off here with Ruthie Kelly.
All right, we're going to bring Ruthie Kelly up. She works in our accident claims department. So, you know, we talked about the kind of that triangle, you know, when you hit somebody, when somebody hits you, and then what we can do to protect the product, kind of which arm of that triangle are you in?
When you hit somebody.
All right. So, you know, the reality of it is nobody's perfect. And, you know, our expectation is not for you to be perfect. That's why we have folks like Ruthie, insurance professional, claims professionals that have worked in the industry for a long time, that know the ins and outs. And she's going to give you a little bit of information on what you can do to protect yourself when you hit somebody, whether, you know, we'll talk, major situations, you know, whether it could be potentially a tow or injury, or even some parking lot situations that we're talking about over here. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome into the terminal. I'm Ruthie Kelly, like you said, accident claims. And just foremost, I want to make sure that you guys know we appreciate you guys so much. We really excited to talk to you guys whenever you call in and help you out. We're here to get your back and try to help you through these kind of tough situations. So there are 3 of us in the department right now. So not a large department, so we have a lot to do, but we certainly do like to take the time to talk to you guys and, like I said, get your back through these accidents. There are some things you can do when you do have an accident to help us make sure that we're paying out what we need to pay out and not paying out things that we shouldn't be paying out. So one thing that we really like to talk about are the photos. When you have an accident, it's really important that you take photos. Whether you think there's damage, no damage of the scene, it's always important to take photos. When you think you've taken 1,000 photos, take 1,000 more and send them to us. We don't care to look through them. You never know what you're going to catch that can help us out a little bit. So do you guys have that PowerPoint? Okay, so I just want to go through some photo examples with you and talk about some things you can do. So this is a bad example. So I can't tell exactly what's going on there. I can't even really see the damage. So some things that you guys can do to help out in a situation like that, take some steps back and get the whole picture in there, what's going on. If you do need to get closer to show us something, if you want to point at it, have something point at it, use a ruler to show us how big it is, a measuring tape, whatever you have in your truck. Just something for comparative size, even if you need your hand there or something, just so we can see like the totality of the damage we're looking at would be really, really helpful. Again, that's just way too close. If that's the only picture we got, we're not going to be super helpful to anybody. So if you're going to send a photo like that, again, make sure you step back several steps so we can see it. Same thing again, I'm sure there is more damage below what we're seeing there. So if that truck goes to the shop and somebody says, yeah, we need, lights and bumpers and everything else, that's costing us a lot more money. And we're just not sure that we owe it. So just, again, step back, point at it, put something for comparison. This one's a little bit better. Still need to step back. We get way too many close pictures and it's just really hard for us to tell what's going on. This is example of a great picture. I can see that whole deer guard's off. I see his license plate number. I can see the grill. I can see that we didn't push anything in, just really knocked off a deer guard, which isn't too big of a deal at all. We get a lot of claims where we've accidentally went through somebody's yard or knocked over a mailbox, something like that. And, and this is an excellent example of a photo. Instead of down on the tire tracks, I can see across that yard or field or whatever it is, and we really got it. And again, just from the side, it's stepped back. I can see the owner of that truck, the deer guard's down. I think there's some damage on the side, so we can see what's going on there. And again, same thing. I can see the front of that truck. I can tell, I think, I don't have really good eyes, but I don't think that headlight's broken from here. It's just a little bit of damage. So All right. And then once you take all those bajillion photos, you just send them in to us. Get on your Prime app and those 3 lines at the corner, push on those. Then you want to hit report accident, which takes you over, and assuming you've already talked to safety and turned your claim in and that sort of thing, you're going to go to step 2. If you need to do step 1 and report your claim, please do that. But step 2, you just click on that and it will start asking you for photos. Just hit next. And then that takes you to your camera where you can just click on the little photos in the corner, and that's going to take you to your phone to all your pictures you take in. Select one at a time. You click on the photo and it takes you to the next screen where you can click either add another page or just send it. So hopefully you're sending more than one. Sometimes, you know, you can only get one, but get what you can and send those in to us. From that point, we'll definitely look at all these photos and just make a determination what we need to do. We always support you guys, and you're our main concern. We want to make sure that we're doing what's right by you guys. So as much information as you can send in to us is great. So after we've gotten the photos and everything, the part comes where we have to start charging deductibles. So when you know you have an accident, from accident claims, you can get 3 different deductibles. One of those being for your truck, which is $1,000, one for your trailer, which is $500, and then one for the damage to somebody else's property. So anytime we have damage to the truck or the trailer, you're going to get one of those. If we're at fault, you'll get one of those deductibles or both. And then on top of that, if we've damaged somebody's car or mailbox or their road or anything, it's going to be the $500 liability deductible. Now, where that comes into play a little bit more important is when an accident is undetermined, meaning somebody accused us of hitting them and we're not so sure we hit them. While we're investigating that, I want you to be aware we do charge that $500 deductible for other people's property while we're investigating, just so we know we've protected you, because we're not insurance, but we want to show that a good faith that we are going to pay for this damage if we do find that we are liable. So that, and just so you don't have a surprise down the road, you know, it could be 3-4 months later and then you're hit with $500, just so you know. But anytime, as soon as we find out that you are not liable and we've determined that, that money comes right back to you. And that is a very common situation. So I just want you guys to be aware that that happens a lot. So, and then one other point I really want to make, I just had an accident the other day. Somebody got charged, their deductible. He said there wasn't any damage, turned it in, no damage. And then we had to turn around and charge him the deductible because the company called in and said that we caused the damage. And he said, well, I didn't take any pictures or anything because there wasn't any damage. That is the most important time to take a photo, is when you don't think you caused damage and they're like, you hit my mirror. Please take a picture of that mirror and send it to us so we can say, okay, when this happened, our driver took a picture. There was no damage to your mirror. We're not going to cover that, because that always does come back. And it just happened the other day and made somebody very sad. So we don't like to make you guys sad. We want to make sure. So I think that's all I have, unless Dennis thinks I don't have more.
Now, you know, I have plenty of questions for you.
Okay.
You know, the safety department sits right next to the accident claims department. So a lot of times folks field incoming calls. My folks will get the companies, the claimants, they're wanting to know, hey, your prime truck hit ... All right. So a lot of the frequently asked questions, first, you talked about the alleged accident situations where, hey, I don't think I did it. I didn't feel anything. My favorite one, I don't think I hit this person's mirror. And, and these are probably our most frequent, situations. We're not, out here on the interstate knocking anybody over. It's typically parking lot situations, inside of truck stops, inside of customers' lots. I know you mentioned, hey, that's automatic deal where does that mean that they're automatically guilty of doing it, or it's
No.
preventable, or?
Nope, that means it's undetermined and we are doing everything you can to investigate it and see exactly what happened. So that's where the photos, if you have dash cam, comes in very, very handy. We always ask for those things. A police report, a witness statement. If anybody was around, please get their name and number and give it to us, because we will always call them and interview them to see, where we need to put fault at.
And the other part is, that as folks are standing there at the incident situation and driver are talking, what happens in those situations where they say, well, how about you just give me, $250 cash right now, and we'll just call it even.
Don't do that. Definitely don't report it to safety. Contact the police department is always usually a good idea. Don't just hand people money, and don't that's just never do that, please.
Really the big peril there, and we try to do the right thing all the time, and I understand that you want to protect your record. Everybody wants the 1,000,000 miles, so
Yeah.
I don't want me being in this guy's mirror to jeopardize 5 years of safe driving on the road. We understand that mistakes happen, so we try to hand them that $250 so that they don't report it. But lo and behold, that's just a dude driving a truck. That company wants their mirror fixed. And,
Yes.
Not to say that there are unscrupulous people out there that will try to take advantage of you, because there just might be one or two, and you might encounter one or two of those folks where they take your $250 and then they take your deductible of $500, and then they take Prime's money too on top of that. So it's really important that in these, attempted cash exchange situations, we're here to protect you. We don't want to ding your record by any means, but we don't want anybody out there taking advantage of you either.
Yeah, that's our main job, is to protect you guys, and any ammunition you can give us to do that is very much appreciated, so we can make sure that we're not doing anything that we shouldn't be doing for you guys.
Hey, another frequently asked question is, that $1,000 deductible, is there any way you can take that out in payments?
That's not up to us. I think that's between your fleet manager and payroll. So anytime that you have that kind of question, just shoot a message to your fleet manager, or talk to them and your payroll, and they can see what they can do for you guys on that. But also, I want to say, if there is an accident and you are charged one of those deductibles, anytime the damage comes in and it's below that deductible amount, you are reimbursed whatever the difference is. So it's not like I had an accident, I got charged $1,000, my damage was only $500 and I paid $1,000. No, you get the other $500 back. Like that. If that doesn't happen, then you need to just alert us, the tractor, the trailer shop, or me, or my cohorts, and we can get that taken care of for you to make sure you do get your money back.
Pretty intuitive, Ruthie. That was going to be my next question. So do you guys have any questions? We got one over here.
Now, if you would hit a deer, is that considered non-preventable or preventable and do you get charged 500 or 1,000?
So it is non-preventable because it's a deer. But since there is damage to the truck or the trailer, then you would get charged that deductible just to repair it. But only for the truck or the trailer if one of those are damaged, or both if they're both damaged.
And just real quick, she gave the right answer, but our accident claims department doesn't do anything as it pertains to preventability or non-preventability. They leave that up to John Harden.
Yeah. So if you have questions, just call that guy.
Any more questions? All right. So thank you, Ruthie. Excellent job. Ruthie's going to be hanging out here with us for the rest of the meeting. If you guys have any questions, or if you have a unique situation you want to talk to her about, feel free to chat her up. Or if there's something specific, you got a claim number, they sit right next to us in the safety department, and they can get you taken care of. So.
All right. So next we're going to go a different route on the claims issue. If someone hits you, so Mr. Jeff Chisholm's here to talk about that, and he's going to go through some details that we need, information that we need to protect yourself and get you reimbursed if you are to get hit.
Okay.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you? Well, my name's Jeff Chisholm, and I'm in the claim department, and myself and Elizabeth Wasson handles our collection claims. And those are situations where someone may hit your vehicle at a parking lot, at a customer, maybe an accident on the road. Really, a lot of our information is going to be the exact same thing as Ruthie, so I'll try not to go into too much detail about that. But I will tell you what we do need to be proactive and help collect for any damages caused by another party. The main thing is if you get hit somewhere, always try to get a police report. If we can get a police report, we have everything documented. We have a description of what occurred, and we have all the other parties' information regarding the driver and the truck. Now, I realize that is very difficult to do sometimes in private property. So I would encourage you to exchange information and get as much information you can from the other party. And you don't necessarily need to write everything down. It's good if he will share his driver's license, his truck registration, possibly a certificate of insurance. Just take a photo of it and you can send it in with the rest of your photos. If there are witnesses, see if you can get somebody to write something up. Just say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I work for this company. This is my phone number. And I witnessed this gentleman hit the Prime truck. So we have something in writing. Dennis mentioned some unscrupulous people. It doesn't happen very often, but there are situations where the story changes down the road when we start trying to collect from someone. In addition to those items, what Ruthie mentioned about photos is very, very true. We need good photos. We encourage you to take good photos of your vehicle. Again, not close-ups, and we have the ability to zoom in on photos once we receive them. Take good photos of the other vehicle. It's always nice to see their license plates, their unit numbers, any DOT numbers, any different company names on the side that may help us track them down. And if the situation occurs at night, take good photos of your truck during the day. I've sent in some scene photos that night, but then the next morning or when it's nice out and you got a good view of the truck, take some good photos so we can see the damages. From that point, if you have minor damages, I would encourage you to just continue running and possibly fix the truck sometime you're in the terminal doing some other business or something. If it is something easy, we will just take the photos, have our body shop write an estimate and pursue the other party and try to collect for those damages. And then you can get it fixed at your convenience. In addition, we also try to collect downtime for you. It's typically based on the hours that it should take to fix the vehicle. Obviously, if the vehicle is not drivable, you have to be towed. There are other circumstances, could be motel bills, could be taxi bills, stuff like that that we'll include with the claim. Our goal is to try to keep this as painless as possible and keep you whole. So if you are hit by another vehicle and it does appear to be collectible, we do not charge your deductible. We will carry that expense for you. We will repair the truck at our expense and then pursue the other party to collect all the damages back with your downtime. In those unfortunate situations where it may be disputed, we can't prove liability. Worst case scenario, you could be liable for your deductible and then Prime would pay the rest of the repairs. So it's a pretty good program. Unfortunately, we get hit a little bit too much, probably 30 or 40 times a week. So if you just take the steps to be proactive, get the information up front, and do everything you can to help us collect for you, then we're in pretty good shape. We collect actually quite a bit. We've collected about, I think we're about 640,000 so far for the month. So we have a lot of damages and we certainly work to try to collect them. And the last thing I will say is if you are at a shipper and they damage your trailer, please try to get something in writing. You would be surprised how many times the shipper damages our trailer. You get a supervisor's name and phone number and we call them the next day and they know nothing about it. So get photos, get something in writing. Even if you have to get it written on your bills, please try to get something to document that to help us collect for the damages. Okay.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Jeff? I got a few before you get out of here, Jeff.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going to get off that easy. Come on. And, so we talk about the subrogation process. Hey,
Yes.
we'll just use this example. CR England, of course, they're knocking everything off. They knock our mirror off in a truck stop. we actually have to chase them down. We were lucky enough to catch that DOT number and truck number, and we may even have some dash cam video of it. So we get it reported to that company. Of course, we want our mirror fixed. That's something we got to do pretty quick. So we get to a shop or whatever, we get it fixed. What typically is the timeline between, hey, this has been reported and we collected from the claimant?
Well, it depends on when everything's completed. Obviously, if you have an accident that needs immediate repairs, go ahead and get those repairs. And again, we will carry that expense for you. At whatever point in time that everything is completed, then we can file a claim for all the damages and downtime if applicable. I will say we give at least 30 days for collection. I can tell you a lot of these insurance companies are pretty backed up. They're shorthanded. And honestly, after COVID and people working from home, it seems the process is even a little slower. We start our collection process in 30 days, but some of these could drag out a little bit longer. And a lot of them are the small companies where the insurance company is trying to call this company and get information on the driver, get information on the truck, and they're not cooperating. And that always delays the process because the insurance company has to verify it's an insured driver, it's an insured truck to pay our claim. So that can hold up the process at times.
And Ruthie talked about this a little bit. Some of these contentious situations, the police won't respond because it's private property. There's an accusation, hey, you hit my prime truck. I saw you do it. Everybody here in the parking lot saw you do it, but you didn't feel it, so you didn't think you did it. What type of information do we need to collect from that claimant that may not want to share his ID or his insurance? Is there something on the truck? What can we get to quickly identify who they are and contact their company?
Well, the best thing we can get is their DOT number, because we can go online to sites like Carrier 411, and we can retrieve all their information. We can retrieve their insurance information. Dennis mentioned dash cams earlier. We've collected several claims that were originally disputed because we did have good dash cam video. And, if you get a situation where the driver is trying to dispute something, maybe you can get photos of a trailer that has a paint transfer or something like that can help support our case and, help us, support you and collect from the other party.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any questions of Jeff before we let him go? All right. And hopefully, Jeff, you got a few minutes to hang out here after the meeting. If anybody have any questions for you, they can corner you over there and make sure they get their subrogation check paid here pretty quick.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Jeff. Certainly these issues that we're talking about today in these departments are not as exciting as, hearing about, new things coming from the lease program, but it's so important that you guys know this information. A lot of the times we get calls on accident calls and, hey, I've never been in an accident. I don't know what to do. All right. And that bothers me from a couple standpoints. One, that means we haven't educated you enough that you do know what to do. And especially coming from a trainer, this information should be pumped into trainees from the very beginning. Our expectation isn't that you have an accident, but the training is there that we expect you to know exactly what to do and exactly what steps to take in case you do, for no other reason than anything else, to protect yourselves. So, we've got the last part of this protection triangle coming up. We've got Eric Wingo from our cargo claims department. We're going to talk to you about how to protect the cargo. So, good morning, Eric.
Good morning. I'm glad to see all of you here. As far as the accidents go, definitely send those photos in. The pictures is great. If you trailer's been involved in an accident in any way, make sure you get photos of that. Want to know, is the trailer actually breached in any way? Do we have air leakage, things like that for temperature issues? Make sure you get with your road assist person on that too, so we can know whether if it's going to have to be towed, what we're going to have to do, if we're going to have to do a transload on the product, all that. Picture of the seal in the back. Make sure you get the lock and seal if that's make sure that's still on there, and then get with us afterward, after everything else is taken care of. I want to make sure everything's, as far as police and first off, your safety, if there's anything issues there, make sure that's taken care of. Then, police and other authorities. And generally cargo, just a general cargo, want to make sure when you guys load up, that you guys have locks, load locks in the trailer, make sure the trailer is sealed, make sure your lock is on the trailer. Check the bills, check the temperature on the bills, get with your live depart people. If there's any issues with the temperature that's on the bills, compared to what your load assignment is, get with the live depart people, get that straightened out before you leave. We want to take care of as many problems we can before we leave the shipper. Once we leave the shipper, it's harder to get things resolved. A lot of times, some of the shippers, they're like, hey, you guys signed for the bills, you left with it, it's your baby now. So we want to get things resolved before we leave the shipper on that kind of stuff. Let's see. Once you guys get to the receivers, make sure they sign for your seals. Seals protect you guys. We like to show that, hey, trailer was sealed when we left the shipper, and we arrived at the receiver, it was still sealed. So we can show that we didn't have anything to do with the product while it was in the trailer. Check your bills when you get them back from the receiver. A lot of times they'll just tell you, hey, you guys are good. Everything's taken care of. Your bills are a legal document. That's what we have to go off of. So if your bills say something different than what the receiver tells you, we have to go off of what the bills say. So make sure you check each and every bill. A lot of times what issues we're having right now is we'll have multiple POs and we won't have one of the bills. Each PO has its own bill and one of the bills won't be signed. And so we come back 3 weeks later and the customer says, hey, the receiver says they didn't get this product and the bill's not signed. And so they send us a claim on it. So that's things we got to watch out for. Make sure each and every one of your POs, each one of the bills is signed. And then make sure you get them all scanned in, all your bills scanned in, sent in for us. That's the other issue. Sometimes I know some of the shippers, they'll load you guys up with books of bills, but each one of them has to be signed and each one of them has to be sent in. We have that issue too, where the customers come back and say, we don't have this bill. And their customer, the 90s, saying they didn't get all the product. So we want to make sure we get all the bills signed and all of the bills sent in.
So here real quick, I'm gonna jump in with a few questions because we're running tight on time. Obviously our driver's time is very valuable, and of course, we owe it to both our driver on one end and our customer on one end to make sure we properly, whether it's dispose of, reconsign, whatever the case may be with this particular product. What's kind of some advice that you would give to a driver maybe that's not getting the response back from the customer as timely as they want, or what's some advice you give to a driver in a situation like that?
Well, we don't own the product, so the first thing is we've got to go to whoever does own the product to tell us what to do with it. Now, sometimes they do take a long time to get us an answer. Some of the options, if you're in an area where we do have drop yards, or if you're around, like one of the terminals, something like that, get with your fleet manager on that and see if it's okay for you to bring it to the drop yard or the terminal. Make sure you've got a seal and lock on it. And other than that, that's the big thing. There are other options. Sometimes maybe your fleet manager has somebody that's at home in the area that could be willing to babysit the load for us. That's some different things, chances to come up with.
That's fantastic. And the other thing, as a former fleet manager, both me and John, the important thing you have to have is communication. As vast as we are as a trucking company, Eric threw out a few good things. Maybe there's somebody there that can babysit it. Maybe there's somebody at home that's willing to sit with it. Maybe your fleet manager is just going to have to step up and pay you, make you whole and make it right. That's part of what the empowerment process is here at Prime. Your time is very valuable. Your availability to generate revenue is very valuable. And we understand that.
Another part on that is do not send your depart from the receiver when you do have product left on the trailer. When you send your depart, that cancels out. That shows the load is emptied out, and that stops the detention, the automatic detention that's being captured. So.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions for Eric before we let him go? Right here in the front. Wait, get on the microphone. All right.
So like Walmart, I noticed they don't sign for it. They give you that sticker and they have a kind of like a driver code that they have on there.
That lists the seal on there. That's your seal record. That's good enough.
Okay. So when I do my depart call and it says, who signed for it, and I just put that code in, that they've given us? Will that work?
I don't, on the depart, I don't know what, yeah, it doesn't,
Okay.
that doesn't matter. You can put the guard shack on that.
Because like it says, was it when you're making your depart call or when you're leaving to Walmart, and it says, you know, who signed for it, and all they have given you is
All they have is that code.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. If you put Walmart on there, that's fine.
Yeah, the main thing is that you turn in the sticker or the trailer control record. That's all. And it does show, you know, that shows that Walmart admits that the trailer was sealed when you came through the gate. That's the most
and that
important
they
thing.
and that
Yep.
they received it.
All right, Pittston, got a question?
Hey, I just had a question posed to me. It says, what if a load is dropped because it's a drop and hook? There's nobody there to sign for the bills, but they have to leave the bills in a mailbox and just to take a copy. What do they do at that point?
Ooh, that's a good one. We really need somebody to acknowledge that we've dropped it there. That's a question. Jeff that was up here earlier is my supervisor, by the way. So
HL Flooring is a big one out in Denver. They tell you to drop it at the door and nobody's there half the time at night. And they don't have no guard shack or nothing.
call in, get it, put it on your Qualcomm. That way it's documented. We've got a timestamp that you're there and when you were there and that's the case. The main thing is communicate. I think it's been said a lot. That's the biggest thing. As long as we've got good communication, good documentation, we can go back and show where we were there and where we did make delivery on that.
You know, we got a really, really vast customer network, and there's going to be some one-offs like that. You know, we live in an age of digital technology. You know, every picture that you take on your phone has a date and timestamp, but it also has a location stamp on there. You know, so if you get to a Shaw's location, there's nobody there. You know, Dennis Davis told you to drop it there. Hey, just write that name on the bills. You know, take a picture of that trailer where you have it dropped. Make sure you take a picture of the seal, you know, that's intact on the door. And you don't necessarily even have to send it in. You just have it in your phone just in case, you know, Chisholm or Wingo want to ask you about it a day or two later. So
if it comes back to us, we'll send you a message on it. You know, hey, what happened? You know, so hopefully as long as you've got it for you.
all right. No more questions? All right. Thanks, Eric. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, we're going to wind down here, and as we get Tyler Patrick ready in a second, we're going to mix it up a little bit here. And you know what we try to do to give a little bit of life into the meeting. We always pick on somebody to come and tell us who we are. And you know, there's usually a table right here. I don't know what happened to this table that I picked, so I'm not going to pick you. I'm going to pick you. So come on up. She's looking like, oh no. Yep, you. Come on up. Come visit with me for just a minute. Give her a round of applause. Give her some encouragement. Now, this isn't scripted at all. It's come on over here. The camera's over here in the middle. Now, I don't want to make you nervous, but you know, we do broadcast this live on Facebook and YouTube, so there's millions of people watching right now. All right. So you're not nervous at all, right? All right. So, hey, my name's Dennis. I work in the safety department. Tell me who you are.
Karen Duke.
Come on, Karen, put that thing close to your mouth. Tell us who you are.
Karen Duke.
Karen Duke. And Miss Duke, where you from?
Northwest Arkansas.
Northwest Arkansas. So you're from just down the street then, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, how long have you been here at Prime?
This is my first week.
First week. So it's like 4 days?
Yeah.
All right. When you got here, it was 80 degrees, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
No, it's not.
No.
Well, good deal. Good deal. So there you go. You came prepared though, right? Because this happens in Arkansas too.
Yes.
All right. So tell us what you're doing here.
I am here to get my CDL.
All right, that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So you're pretty excited.
I am.
Here to get your CDL. Going to go out with a instructor here soon.
Yes.
You a little nervous?
Of course.
All right. Now, have you ever driven a big vehicle before?
No, not at all.
First time. Huh? What about?
Barely even sat in one.
Oh, you
Yeah.
drove a car before,
He's
though,
got his
right?
hands full.
You drove a car before, right? Though.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. All right. Good deal. Good deal. So what did you do before you came here?
I work for Tyson Foods.
Uh-oh.
I know.
You know, they were just here yesterday.
And I
They
didn't know any
they
of
took
them.
one of our associates. Now we're taking one of theirs.
Yep.
Well, that's
Didn't want to
good.
say, heck,
That's
I know you
good.
guys, but they wouldn't know me. So.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. So, you know, at Tyson, I'm assuming you saw a ton of prime trucks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right.
Saw a
And-
lot of bills come in. Says Prime on them.
There you
I
go.
checked it out.
So-
So what kind of product y'all were hauling?
All right. So tell me, give me an idea of some of the research you did, you know, when you were exploring trucking companies that you wanted to go to.
We did a lot of YouTube searching. We looked around. Didn't want to go to Swift.
Oh,
CR England. FedEx. Yeah, we did a lot of research on the YouTube.
all right. Well, good deal. And you came here
Yes.
and you're excited so far.
Yes, my husband's here already. He's leasing
So he's going to train you?
on TNT.
Uh-oh.
I'm excited about that.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, how long you been married?
6 years.
6 years. All right. That's a good number. That's a good number. Has your husband trained you to do anything before?
No.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm a husband. All right. Most important thing for a trainee, maybe even a wife, to do is listen.
That's going to be hard.
I know. That's going to be hard. So this will be interesting.
It will be.
So I'm gonna just be kind of, you know, hanging out in the weeds and see how this thing works out.
We'll let you know about it.
Well, good. We thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Are there any questions about the process we can answer for you? This is totally organic. You know, I just saw you sitting over there. So
No, sir, not yet. I'm in it though, ready to get out there and make some money, just like everybody
All right.
else.
I'm gonna steal some words from Robert. Amen for making some bank.
I know. That's what we're here doing.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming on up. All right, we try to get a little bit of life into the situation. You know, whenever that sun kind of peeks behind the clouds and our mood kind of just dampens a little bit, and then we bring up all these folks talking about charging you deductibles and stuff. You know, everybody's mood kind of turns. So, you know, thank you, Ms. Duke, for bringing a little bit of life into the situation today. And, you know, we've got one of our best speakers coming up next. I'm going to let John introduce him.
All right, so following along the lines of making bank, we're going to have Tyler Patrick out in Salt Lake City talk about some of the preparation, the maintenance. He's going to bring up some props and examples, I think, of some parts, maybe some fluids that you need out there on the road to be successful this winter. So Tyler, are you out there?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? There we go. Yeah. All right. Good deal. Man, we got a good crowd out here. Dennis, I'm worried for your safety, though, brother, after those kind of comments. I'm pretty sure I see Carrie back there in the background getting ready to take you down, brother. So watch your back. All right. No, it's a great day out here in Salt Lake City. My name's Tyler Patrick. I'm from the maintenance department. I spent a good time in our road assist department working out there. So just real quick, while I got the opportunity up here, I'll call this my Paul Higgins soapbox. But one of the things while Ruthie, I believe, was talking about pictures and getting your pictures and making sure we get like a good context of what the whole scenario looks like, getting the whole picture in frame. The same goes for road assist, right? We want to make sure we have that context, right? When we're sending these pictures, going into winter, we got a lot of accidents, we got a lot of damages coming up, and we got breakdowns ahead of us. So when we're taking pictures, trying to relay information back and forth to road assist, let's make sure we're getting a good context. Taking that picture from a few steps back, trying to identify, you know, if it's a leak, a picture of where the leak is coming from, not just a picture of the leak on the ground trying to show us what the fluids are. So just a couple things I wanted to touch on there. So yeah, I want to get into some items to keep on your truck during winter. You know, we're getting into this. There's a lot of things and a lot of preparation we can do. So I want to ask a new friend of mine to come up here. Stacy's going to come up here and help me present some of this stuff and talk about some of these items. So let's give her a warm welcome. Come on, guys. There we go. All right. Stacy, where are you from?
Washington State.
Washington State. Perfect. How long have you been here, Prime?
A week.
Perfect. So another newbie. So on the topic, you're from Washington, a lot of cold weather, right?
Yes.
What are some things that you as a Washingtonite, whatever you watch, anyways, what are some things you keep in your car to prepare for the cold in the winter?
Warm blanket, extra food, vehicle resources. So
Absolutely. No. And the same thing goes, the first thing I want you guys to think about keeping on the truck is what you need as an individual to stay safe, right? That's going to be a warm blanket, a nice jacket, some, a hat, some things to make sure that when you're out doing these loads, you're out on these yards, you're warm and you're protected in the elements, right? Food, right? I-80 shuts down like we talked about earlier in this meeting. We had to shut down the terminal here due to wind earlier this week. So if you're crossing I-80, you're going through these areas where they have to shut down the interstate. You want to make sure you're prepared and have food and rations, water and things like that to make sure we get through this winter safely. So now let's talk about some things for the truck, right?
Okay.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to ask you a big question here because it's starting to get cold here. Like Troy said, it's 20-something degrees. What do you know about anti-gel?
I heard it's so the diesel won't freeze up.
That's exactly right. There we go. Good job. Yeah. So perfect example. So this is anti-gel right here. This is what we sell here at the terminal. This is called Penray Winter Power Plus. Okay. So this bottle is what you sell here at the terminal. I would suggest you grab a case of it. Okay. We let you guys take a case of it at a time. Make sure you have some on the truck. What this does is you add it to your fuel every time we fuel up, including our reefers. We want to make sure that we're adding this to the fuel. What this does is when fuel gets cold, not gasoline, but diesel fuel gets cold, it'll actually gel up and it'll cause a problem. So once it gets thick and it gels up, it won't go through the fuel system anymore, right? So this product prevents it from gelling up. So just as a rule of thumb, this bottle treats 250 gallons. Do you know how much fuel a truck holds?
No.
Okay, it's a lot, right? So it's about total, if we took it the truck and the trailer, it's about 250 gallons. So your left tank is 100 gallons, your right tank is 100 gallons, and then the reefer's 30. So we're 230 gallons, right? So one of these bottles treats us from empty all the way to full, right? Now, I'm gonna ask you a real question. I bet you don't know. Can you over-treat with anti-gel?
I'm sure you can.
No, you can't. All right, there we go. So don't be afraid to put too much in there, right? So this is another anti-gel product. This is what you're gonna see over the road, right? This is called Diesel Power Service. It's called Diesel Fuel Treatment. One thing I wanna point out is that when I was in Road Assist, I like to tell people it's a white bottle with a red cap, right? Not very common. Are you going to see the same color combination in the truck stops? When you're looking for anti-gel in the truck stops, you're not going to be able to find the Penray. We want you to try and use this Power Service white bottle with the red cap, okay? And this, again, treats a lot of fuel. But I had to pull that out of my own truck this morning. One thing I want to tell you, though, is there's like a science experiment on the back. It tells you need so many ounces per so many gallons whenever you're trying to add it to the fuel. I'm not a scientist. I'm not trying to bring my measuring cups with me when I'm fueling my truck. So, like I said, a little bit less than half in one side, a little bit less than half in the other, and then the rest you can use in your reefer tank, okay? So don't be worried about over-treating, right? Next question. What do you do when your truck does gel up?
Heat it up somehow.
You're going to heat it up and pull over. All right. So some signs to look for whenever you think your truck might be gelling is the APU and the bunk heater are typically going to be the first thing to start having problems, okay? So the APU, the little engine on the side of the truck that you use at night, if it starts running really rough or you're having troubles getting it started, that's a good sign that maybe our fuel is already gelled, right? What are we going to do? We've got fuel that's gelling. Maybe we didn't treat it. Maybe we thought that the truck stop that we fueled up pre-treated their fuel, right? Don't rely on what other people say they're doing. We need to make sure that we're taking ownership of that freight, of that fuel, and we're going to treat our fuel ourselves. So make sure you're treating, even if they're advertising that they're treating the fuel at the truck stops, right? So let's say we do have those problems and the truck starts to gel up. Now we're going to look for the red bottle with the black cap, and it says 911 in real big letters on the front.
What, 911?
There we go. Perfect. So it's right there on the front. I would suggest keeping 4 to 5 bottles of this on the truck at all times, right? Because this is an emergency situation. It's a 911 situation. So whenever we start seeing those problems where the bunk heater's not working, the APU's sputtering out, maybe the truck itself's even sputtering out, you're having problems with power, that's when we want to start treating that stuff. We want to make sure we're getting that in the fuel system. Dump a bottle of this in the left side, a bottle in the right, try and get your hands on as much as you can and start treating with that. Keep the truck running, keep the APU running, and that's going to allow this stuff to cycle through the fuel system and keep the truck from running, or from shutting down, I'm sorry. So, any questions?
No.
All right, she's sold. All right. Anybody else? Thank you. Yeah, give it up for Stacy. Thank you. Does anybody else have questions on anti-gel? Yeah, right here. Hold on. Let me come to you.
Can you mix the orange bottle with the brown bottle?
If there's a 911 issue, can you mix the orange bottle with the brown bottle? So you're asking, can you mix this with? You're good. So yeah, if you've already treated and you've got this in the truck, that's okay. You can add this. We want to make sure we're adding this. Now, this is not to be used to treat fuel. All right. So this isn't what you want to use every day when you're fueling your truck. This is only for those 911 situations and those emergency stops. A lot of times you're going to be talking to Road Assist anyways, because maybe your truck has a fault code. So maybe you're already in communication with Road Assist and they'll tell you, hey, do you have any 911? Let's go ahead and get that in the fuel system and let that start working. Another thing I want to talk about is, when you do treat your fuel, right? Make sure you're running the bunk heater. Make sure you're running that APU for a few minutes to get that good treated fuel cycled in there, right? Let's say you pick up a load in Florida, right? Nobody's treating their fuel in Florida at the truck stop. So you're like, okay, yeah, it's sunny and 75. I'm headed out of here. Maybe you're headed up north going to New York or whatever. Next time you're going to fuel is be a few states north. It might be 30, 20 degrees up there, right? So you treat your fuel in your truck, you keep rolling, you make it to your 90, you turn on the APU. APU's gelled up and not running, right? So let's make sure when we put that anti-gel in, we're running those systems, allowing that good treated fuel to get all the way through all our fuel systems. Okay. Anybody else have any questions about anti-gel or just winter tips in general? There we go. I got another one.
I spoke to another newer driver the other day, and he was telling me that he had a brand new truck with a block heater, so he doesn't need a treat. Can you explain to people what the difference between the block heater and treating your fuel is?
Absolutely. So the block heater is something you're going to use while you're parked. Okay. So what that is that's a system that's mounted on the side of the engine, and it's literally a heating element. So you plug it into the like a 110 volt, like on the wall. And what that does is it keeps the engine block warm, right? You're not going to be able to do that everywhere, right? Unless you plug it into your inverter maybe and you run it with the APU. It's a whole, engineering thing that goes on there. Okay, so maybe they have fuel tank heaters. So some trucks have fuel tank heaters and stuff like that. And that is good. And some trucks have them. Typically, we don't spec those in our fleet. So unless it's coming from an outside carrier, bringing it onto our fleet, or maybe you're leasing it from somewhere else or you're running on our advanced fleet, typically our trucks aren't going to have those systems. But even in those cases, I would rather be safe than sorry. I've seen it. I worked in road assist for about 10 years, and we've had those years where it gets so cold in the Midwest, we would have trucks gelling while they're running down the road, which is completely unheard of. And it was at the point where we kind of go back to that, making sure you have warm clothes and blankets on the truck. We were at the point where we were having to tell drivers, hey, we're calling 911 to come pick you up. Unfortunately, the safest option here for you is to get away from the truck and trailer and into a hotel. Tow companies were backed up 3 and 4 days. We're literally waiting on the police to come rescue drivers from the side of the road. So try and keep yourselves out of those situations. Make sure you have good fuel gel or anti-gel. Make sure you have those items on your truck to keep yourself safe. That's the ultimate goal. A fuel filter would be that's a great question. He asked if we should carry a fuel filter on the truck as well. Typically in those gelling situations, that's what happens is that gel coagulates and it clogs up the fuel filter where it restricts the fuel flow, and then we can't run the truck anymore. So having an extra fuel filter is not a bad idea. Typically that's what's going to happen. If we have to call a road service out to you to come get the truck primed up and the fuel system working again, what they're going to be doing is changing out the fuel filter, and then they're going to be dumping bottles of this into the fuel tank and directly into the filter housing to try and get your truck running again. So definitely not a bad idea to keep an extra fuel filter on the truck.
Hey, Tyler.
Yes, sir.
I'm here. So hey, we're running tight on time. Obviously, your information is fantastic, and folks want to know more. So you know what that means. That means we're going to have you back next week.
I'll be there.
All right. So hey, we really appreciate it. Of course, you can hang out there in Salt Lake City and answer all the questions you want. We're going to keep it rolling because we got 2 more speakers to get up. Okay.
You guys, appreciate you having me. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. As we start to close here, today's November 11th. Something special happens every November 11th. It's Veterans Day, and we're a company that really appreciates those that serve in uniform to protect our company. John and I and a lot of the folks around the room are wearing red today. We do that every Friday, where we try to do it every Friday. It's an acronym for Remember Everyone Deployed. So anyone here at any of our terminals that served in the armed forces, that defended our country in uniform, please stand up and allow us to properly thank you. We got a quick video that we're going to show in honor of Veterans Day, and then we're going to bring up a veteran himself, Mr. Steve Welke.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. That's great. Have a round of applause for recognition there. Yeah, my name's Steve Wetke. I'm in sales and would like to welcome everyone that has chosen to hook your wagon to Prime. Really appreciate it. Think you made a good decision. I hope we're treating you well, and we'll get you through this training process. We've got a lot of really good operators that started just where you are today. So it'll get done. Just be patient, listen, and learn. You know, we've talked a lot about security, claims, all of those things. Here's what I think the key point here is. As an operator, when you get that load, it's under your care, custody, and control. And you need to protect it. And by protecting that load, you're protecting yourself, you're protecting our shippers, and we have a tremendous, great customer base. And those shippers, they want you to protect them. And by the same token, you're protecting Prime. So we're all aligned in this claim situation. You work way too hard to lose money on a claim that isn't reality. So just keep all that in mind. You need to have a lock on your trailer. You need to have your seal on your trailer. You need to, hey, take a picture. You got a camera. Those things, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So make sure you're taking pictures. If you have any kind of an incident, let's get a record of it. Just protect yourself. That's all we're saying. Really appreciate you all that have been here with us, have helped us grow our company. We still have a lot of growth coming, have a great customer base. We're going to continue to add new business. So the fall's here now. We'll start working on the Christmas business. Should be pretty hectic out there for you. So stick with us. There'll be some ups and downs in this business, I can promise you. Right, Donnie? It's not smooth all the time. The other thing I would tell you, your fleet manager is the key to a lot of your success. So make sure you get his number, make sure you get his name, make sure you meet him, get his cell phone. And if you have issues 24/7, use that number. That's his responsibility in all cases. So appreciate you all very much. Again, my name's Steve Wetke. I'm in sales. John, thank you for breakfast. You guys did a great job for us. Once again, you can give our cafeteria people a round of applause. And I'd like to introduce Robert Lowe, the guy that started this company a few years ago.
You took the hint. I thought if I came up here and stood next to him, he'd, make it a little bit shorter.
I
I'm
got it.
running a little bit. And this guy's a sales guy.
I got it.
He's a damn good one too, but he likes to talk. He talk on and on. But he's pretty good. We're not going to run him off yet. Not today. Might be tomorrow, but not today. We're going to keep him around. We have a lot of good people here. A lot of good people. You heard from several of them. Not the least of which is, Dennis Davis and John Harden over here and Tyler Patrick out in Salt Lake City and many others. They're good because we select and we screen them. We hire the best. We train them the best. And if they don't perform, we run their ass off. You see what I'm saying? So we have some good ones, and we're going to keep building on those people. And those folks are here to help you, along with their, technical skills. So I can use that phrase to describe, their knowledge of their area of responsibility. They respect our drivers. That's a basic tenet of our company. Drivers don't really get the respect they deserve. We're just getting better because the American public realizes that you all put food on the shelves during the pandemic. You made tremendous sacrifices to do that. Not every one of them, but they appreciate that by and large. And it's the truth, and the truth always prevails. So I thank you for what you do. We're in a different marketplace. You're going to hear about that. We're going to do things. You'll take a little bit different tactics. I wish the whole would just hold still for us, but kind of keeps moving. So we got to figure out what to do, and we have a good team here to do that, and we're in the process of doing it because like Dennis said, we like to make some bank. Amen on making some bank. All right, we're going to continue to do that. We're going to do things right. So again, I thank you. I thank you for choosing Prime. I thank you for being here. God bless each of you and be safe out there.